I don't watch the news. So
That's all bad.
That's a good thing.
I don't actually know what's happening out in the
Crime,
world.
murder.
I know there's a lot of
greed, wars, storms.
and poverty. There's a lot of
poverty.
people worried about money, and they're losing their jobs and they can't find jobs. Unemployment is high.
Yes.
And they're struggling.
Yes.
To think that there's a change that's possible.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people jobless right now. Why?
Well, they need to go through a change. They've manifested it.
Yes.
And they need to hear what they're saying.
They're acting it out. Yes.
Yeah, they're acting it out. But it's very tough. I mean, I have friends that they're in a tough situation and they can't see the outcome.
Yes. And one of the things happening on the planet as a result of this shift into freedom, or not, but this whole dynamic of freedom, it has to do with money. It's one of the big issues. One of the grips that this lack of freedom has on consciousness. It goes directly through money. No freedom, no money. So it affects the economies. Plus the markets, financial markets, as you know, are about 500 years old. That's old. Right now. So they're having to go through a shift. Right? People that are holding on to the old ways, not just because of greed, but because of old ways, because they want tomorrow to be like today. Because for them, they have the money. You don't. So they want it to be like today. So there's this tremendous friction that's taking place right now. I've said before, the financial systems have already collapsed in a way. In other words, they are no longer backed by the trust that they used to have. Do you trust money? You trust the people who handle your money? And not that they're bad, but they're not in the same consciousness as you. Yes. And if you have any questions, want to get any further insights, cheap promotional plug, do get Patricia's book, Conscious Money. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So the financial systems, it's dreadful. It's so dreadful. If you knew how dreadful it was, you would cry. You would cry. What's being propped up right now by bubble gum and bandages. But the financial systems have to go through this change because they're one of the biggest things inhibiting people from freedom. There is very specific paths or methods in today's financial systems. And it's very hard for one who is not in it to get part of it. Now, as we've talked about before, there's not a conspiracy. Please, any of you right now, take a deep breath. If you want to be in your freedom, get over conspiracies. We can argue all day, argue all night. But there is this group that, I'll tell you right now, the only conspiracy is stupidity. Absolutely true. There are no conspiracies. Some of you will argue there's a conspiracy in the government. Stop for a moment. Feel into the energy of government. Think about all the government workers you've met. Think about the politicians. Think about all the ads you people here in America are receiving. They're not bright enough to have a conspiracy. And thank you. They're not. They are enamored with power, of course. But who isn't other than a few masters? You go into some of the other realms and the other dimensions, they're not a bunch of really nice, big, fluffy beings out there. They have the same power struggle. Power is translated on Earth into, generally, money. You got money, you got power. But the cosmos is based right now on a power struggle. That's why there's so much interest in what's going on here on Earth. Will humans on this planet finally allow themselves to be free? And it's really interesting, amazingly interesting. The elections here that you're having here in the United States, No, that's not the interesting part. That's gross, I know. But I said that out in the other realms, there's this whole issue of freedom, and they are watching this planet. And they're not some super advanced beings, civilizations that have figured it out a long time ago. Otherwise, they would have been here to help you. They're going through many of the issues in their own interdimensional, galactic ways that you are. But really, believe it or not, you're at the forefront. When I say that, even out in the cosmos, the jury is still out. Will humans finally accept their freedom? Or will humans keep going along in the matrix? Will they just have tomorrow like today? The jury is out, but actually it's interesting because just like your upcoming election here in United States of America, it's close. It's really close. It's very close. Now, it's not about who wins the election. And in a way, I'll tell you right now, it does not matter. One bit. Why? Because it's the mechanism underneath. It's the people from yesterday that are here today, that are going to be here tomorrow, operating the government, handing you your driver's license or not. It's those people. And they're the people that really believe that tomorrow is going to be like today. So we're looking for some who understand that tomorrow can be anything you want it to be. It's a hard one to break out of. That's freedom, though. It's a hard one to break out of because right now I say the words and you, oh, that sounds so good. But the chances are for you, tomorrow is going to be the same as today. Tomorrow's pretty much the same. You're going to wake up at about the same time, eat about the same thing, have about the same schedule, with the same people, with the same problems. Everything is going to be about the same. And the biggest thing is your thoughts are going to be the same. You're going to wake up in the morning feeling a little tired, feeling a little good, a little bad, wondering what the hell's going to happen next, wondering what is going to affect change in your life, and then waiting for it like it was going to come from the outside. Tomorrow is pretty much going to be like today, unless you say, hell no. But before you do, there's consequences. And those consequences, which we'll discuss in a moment, are the very things that are probably keeping you from having this true freedom. So let's take a deep breath. The elections are indicative. It's going to be very close, very close. And as I said, it doesn't really matter who gets in because it's going to be about the same next year. They may argue over a new bill, but the bill won't get passed anyway, will it? They may argue about rights and morals, but it's not going to change. We'll keep going down the same path, day after day after day. It's the nature of mass consciousness. It's the nature of no freedom. No freedom. And unfortunately, most humans, the vast, 99.9% of humans, feel that they can do very little about it. Feel that they have no true influence in their personal lives. That's the sad fact. So they go along with it. They rebel once in a while. They throw a few rocks and sticks. They get on the news program and talk big. They might write an article for their local editorial in the newspaper, which people don't read anymore anyway. Once in a while they say, we've got to do something about this. And then they wake up the next morning on the same pattern. True freedom is saying no more. True freedom is saying, I am going to change. I don't care about mass consciousness. I no longer believe in destiny or fate. I'm not going to go along with the man or the lady anymore. I am that I am. A big step, a huge step. Let's take a deep breath. I want to talk for a moment here before we launch into today's topic. We had a magnificent dream walk the other day into the earthbound realms. These are the realms where those who have left the physical body in a traumatic or sad way have stayed. They don't go through the doorway of death because they don't want to admit they died. They're so angry that they're still connected to this earth, to other people, to buildings, to things that they did before. You see, what they're really doing when they're earthbound is they continue to live out yesterday over and over and over and over. There's not even a tomorrow for them, even though their tomorrow probably wouldn't be much different than today, like most people. They are stuck in yesterday. They're earthbound. They're not bad beings. They're not even evil. They're not even evil. They do insidious things, but they're actually really not evil. They're just repeating every day over and over again. You had a movie called Groundhog's Day. Each day the same. That's what earthbound realms really are. Well, of course they're screaming. Of course they're going to try to terrorize. Of course they're going to try to get your attention. They're trying to get energy because energy is food. Energy comes to them through things like fear. So of course they're going to be rattling the rafters and scaring the crap out of little kids in the basement. Oh, they love little kids. Why? Because little kids can feel them still and see them still. I don't really care if they scare the bejesus out of some little kid because it's food and they're hungry. Because they keep living yesterday over and over. Very similar to the life of so many humans who have a body still, who don't think they're in this no person's zone, who think they have choices. But there's so many humans that are walking through each day just the same. That's not freedom. It was never intended to be this way. It was never intended to repeat every day. It doesn't matter if it's November 3rd or April 15th, because humans, in spite of looking at the calendar, are living in the same day over and over. Sounds kind of depressing, isn't it? Oh, the energy here went so low. Oh, but there's hope. You knew I had to say that. There is hope. I'm going to call it today, What Dreams May Come. Yeah, what dreams may come. That's hope. There's not a lot of hope on this planet right now. And it actually doesn't have to be, particularly when most people are getting just enough. It doesn't have to be a lot of hope then. You basically have enough to eat. You'd like a new house, but you got enough to eat. You got a car, or you can get transportation somewhere. You have a roof over your head, just enough. You'd like more, but got just enough. And that's keeping people out of their dreams. It's actually better when you lose your job and things are going to hell and you think you might have a terminal illness. That's when you start dreaming. That's when, oh boy, I better get my beep together and dream. Quick, quick. What dreams may come for you to get out of having tomorrow just the same as today? What dreams may come?